What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Kareem Akbar, aka the host of BBO Boxing, man. I'm in the house with my guy, man, Puerto Rican Free, the great debater, and of course my man Prize. What's going on with y'all brothers? How y'all feeling?
Yeah.
What's
Salute to
good?
y'all.
What's good?
Hey man, today it's a lot going on. I know everybody's probably caught up into the election. So we're gonna talk about that probably first. And then we're gonna talk a little boxing that's kind of out there. It's not much out there, but we're gonna talk a little bit of boxing. But let me ask you this real quick, Free. Who do you want to win that? Who do you want to win the election?
Harris.
I can't hear you.
I said I want Harris to win. Oh, hold
Um,
on.
let me ask you this:
Uh,
are you
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
hear you.
No, I was saying, so are you kind of anxious about the election, or you kind of like it is what it is type of thing? Salute to my man Bentley.
I'm a little anxious, but I mean, we can't control what nobody else do. We only could control what we do. So I'm a little anxious, but I mean, for the most part, it's going to be somewhat of the same. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I just think it'd be a lot more. If you go back to when Donald Trump was in office, there was a lot of hatred going around freely. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was a lot more freely of prejudice that you saw when Donald
Mm-hmm.
Trump was in office, more than I've ever seen in my life. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I've always knew that it was some racial stuff going on in the country, but I never seen it as much as I did when Trump was in office.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only thing that I hope people learned from the last time he was in office.
Yeah. What about you, Price?
Well, I don't talk about this stuff. It's stupid.
Um. Well, speaking about it, I guess for me, the thing that get me the most free, and I just don't get like how you can go through all this stuff. You get these charges, all this other stuff going on, and you can still run. It's just kind of like I guess that's the part that's kind of nerve wracking to me, man. But
Yeah.
I guess it is
And
what it
Matt,
is.
could you imagine if Brock had all that against him when he tried to run? How that would turn out? That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, he said in 2016 election was a small minority group voting for him. Um, I don't know. Suit my man Ace. The thing is,
Now you got all
man,
these rappers all over the place voting. I don't want to talk about this. I'm gonna get annoyed.
yeah, I don't know, but you gotta. It makes sense. A rapper, most of the rappers that's doing it are pretty well off, so they gonna probably lean that way anyway. And the thing is, that's so crazy is financially, a lot of us lean that way, but it's like I guess I'm just nervous that dude gonna get in there and tear some stuff up, man. um,
Yeah.
but that being said, I was gonna ask you guys about something that's been coming up. It's looking like we might never get to see, which is the title of this video. Is Abdul Wahid and Sugar Shakur, the new Alpo, and Rich Porter. And I say that because I really think that no matter what Abdul Wahid does, I don't think he can get that fight. I really don't think he'll get that fight. What do you guys think about it?
He what fight? Shakur?
The Shakur fight.
He'll get it. I think he can get it. Bob Arum, they'll work it out. I'm sure. But it's just a
He's not
matter of
with Bob
time.
Arum. He's not with Bob Arum.
Oh, I mean, I'm sorry, Eddie Hearn. I'm sorry. I'm pretty
Well,
sure they'll get it worked out.
I don't. Well, I think the fight will happen. I don't think it'll happen under Eddie Hearn because he only has a 2-fight deal under Eddie Hearn.
Hmm.
I don't think he'll get it under Eddie Hearn.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it will happen. More so because Shakur realized. Well, he knows that his biggest payday is with Tank Davis. I don't think there's another fight that he can get where he would get a bigger payday than fighting against Tank Davis.
You don't think a fight with possibly a Ryan or Teofimo Lopez would kind of garner that kind of money?
Nah, um, because I don't think it's no history there. I don't like Shakur is and Ryan doesn't have any history like that. Like Tank Davis and Shakur, they got history, so there's going to be some trash talking. There'll be a little bit of trash talking between Ryan and Shakur, but not really. It's just going one person gonna say I'm better than you, and this other person gonna say, well, you only do one thing. So it's not really no trash talking. But when it comes to Shakur and Tank, it's going to be a lot of trash talking, and I think a lot of people wants to see that fight because they know that Shakur is a defensive fighter, and they know Tank Davis knocks out majority of his opponents. And what fight do you want to see more? You want to see a defensive fighter versus someone who knocks out like 93% of his opponents. So I mean, a lot of people want to see that. They want to see if Shakur can, if his defense can keep Tank Davis away, and they want to know if Tank Davis can crack Shakur's defense.
Yeah. And I'll ask you guys this: do you think Shakur's defense is a little overstated, or he really is that great of a defender? What do you guys think?
Not Shakur's a hell of a defensive fighter. I mean, all you got to do is just look at the stats. He's one of the least punch. I mean, or the most opponents that he fight have their worst statistical fight against Shakur Stevenson. Any opponent he's ever fought, they have their worst statistical fight against him. So he doesn't get hit a lot. I think the average fight. I mean, I think his average round per fight punches landed on him is somewhere around 4 or 5 punches per round. That's actually landed on him in a fight. So he doesn't get hit a lot. I think he's number 1 or number 2 in the least amount of punches landed on.
Yeah, I think he is too. But like I said, I think what happened with that fight is I don't think Tank should be trying to get off to a slow start. I think he should start wanting to walk Shakur down right away because Shakur be on his bike and he in 1 or 2, 3 shots land that everybody can see they'll give Tank or Shakur the round. And they say, no, you look up and you in round 6. Now you got to play catch up. He can't get in the hole with Shakur like he do Frank Marcus. Because Shakur ain't gonna be like that. You know what I'm saying? Shakur gonna be on his A, he gonna be moving on his A game. I'm not saying that Frank Martin was, but Shakur defense is a hell of a lot better than Frank Martin's. And Frank Martin had success in the beginning. I think Shakur had success in the beginning, but we don't know what'll happen if Tank do hit him. We
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't think. But the thing is, I don't think Shakur can win a fight fighting Tank Davis the way he fought De Los Santos. I don't think he wins that fight. I think they give it to Tank Davis because he's the bigger name for one, and they see that he's pushing the action, and Shakur is pretty much just trying to stay away. I don't think he wins that fight.
I'll ask you guys this to kind of throw this in there. When you talk about Shakur's defensive fighting, I think something Roy Jones said that's very true. I don't necessarily see him slipping. I kind of just see him going straight back. Wouldn't that be a bad look against somebody like Abdul Wahid, who you seen can counter off the front foot? Because I don't know what Prize was watching, but it looked like pretty much after the 3rd round, Abdul Wahid dominated Frank Martin in every way. Am I wrong to kind of see that? Because I thought he dominated him in
Yeah,
every
he
way that he
definitely
fought.
dominated him, but I'm saying Frank Martin had success in the beginning. Hell, Rolly had success in the beginning until he got hit. You know what I mean? That'll be the thing with me. They be doing all right until they get hit and they don't respond very well. That's all I'm saying. And I
Yeah,
think that Shakur, I think that what you say, you said something that I wanted to respond to. You was cooking about something. I just slipped my mind, but Shakur, he's a master at distance, bro. Like he's gonna like. I hear you. He don't slip and all that, and he kind of like leaps back and kind of like take a couple steps back or take a walk to the side or whatever. I think that him being a master at distance it could help him, but it also could hurt him too. But like I said, I kind of agree with Free. Like I don't see him winning that kind of fight, a De Los Santos kind of fight. I don't see how he gonna have to engage at some point, bro. He gonna have to, bro.
I'll say this to kind of pivot a little bit. I think Shakur's next fight, she should come back and fight Kid Austin. I think him fighting Kid Austin will be a good fight, and I think that would garner some interest because I'm gonna be honest with you, it doesn't look. I could be wrong. It looks like he doesn't want to fight Abdul Wahid because he's done. He could have easily just signed to fight him. You know what I mean? He doesn't want the fight, and I think that sometimes we gotta understand that this is probably what it is. He probably doesn't want to fight him because he hasn't made himself available. He hasn't done the proper things to make the fight. We seen Ryan do everything he possibly could to make that fight. So you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I ask you this, Free. What do we do? Can we be honest and say maybe he doesn't want that fight? What you say, Free? You on
Maybe
mute.
who don't
You
want
on
the
mute, Free.
fight?
You on mute, Free. Go ahead.
I'm not going to say that he doesn't want the fight. I just think a lot of time when you are a free agent, um, it's kind of hard for you to make the fight. And the reason I say that is because you want to be a free agent, and in order for him to get that Tank Davis fight, he would have had to sign with PBC. I don't think he really wants to sign with PBC. And I don't think PBC would have gave him a one fight deal. They probably would have offered him a multi-fight deal in order to get the fight with Tank Davis. So I'm not gonna say he doesn't want the fight. I just think being a free agent, we saw that with Bud Crawford. It wasn't until he actually got some reputation, some representation to go into the negotiations with Earl, that the fight wasn't made. It kept getting put off. And I think when you're a free agent, you don't really know how to go into these negotiations by yourself. I think you gotta have somebody who's used to doing it. If you're not used to doing it, you really don't want to jump into it because you're like, no, I don't want to sign this because I don't really know what this means. I don't really know what that means. So you got to have the right representation in order to go into these meetings. So I just think he just didn't have the right people around him to make that fight because Jay Prince don't have a good reputation with PBC. So you can't have Jay Prince in there trying to make the fight for you because they're going to try to give Jay Prince whatever they want to give him because they don't really mess with Jay Prince like that.
Yeah, and I'll ask you this: when it comes to Shakur, why is there no one saying he just hasn't done anything to make himself available? What you say to that, Prize?
He said, I mean, I think it goes back to Free what D Free was just saying. He ain't really have no representation. So what was he doing? Like he became a free agent, and then he thought it was gonna be sweet, and he could just go here and there and do what he want to do. But he found out it don't work that way, and he had to hire somebody. And like Free just hit everything and just nailed everything. Then Jay Prince don't do no business with Al Heyman, so you got that. So where's he going?
Yeah, I think it's just I don't know. For
He
me,
should have signed with Tank then. Tell him, hey, well, let me get with you then. We can make the fight happen. You give me a one fight deal, and I'll fight for GTD. Well,
yeah, but he not gonna do that. He not gonna. It's
why not?
too much pride. He not gonna do that.
Well,
One
hell,
thing
Floyd fought for Golden Boy when he had the damn fight Oscar.
yeah, but
Well, what?
that's kind of a different thing. Like uh Oscar De La Hoya was on a whole different level. Floyd
That's
wasn't
fact.
nowhere near that level. Like people, you got to remember too. Richard Schaefer and Juan Gonzalez, who runs Golden Boy now. I mean, let's just be honest here. At one time, this kid, Oscar De La Hoya, had the best promotion in boxing. He had a young up and coming guy on his staff working with him with young Al Heyman, and then you seen him slowly over time. Then you see him slowly over time. He started building up because it was almost like when you think about Golden Boy, it was almost like the PBC we know now was almost like another like label inside of them. And I'll just say this: I think Oscar De La Hoya, because he was on drugs real bad, he wasn't able to, keep his house in order. And I think he's still suffering because, let's be honest here, Oscar De La Hoya is a star maker. He's a
You
star
know
maker.
what? You know what? You said it right. Oscar De La Hoya did it. The Golden Boy was running good when Oscar didn't have nothing to do with it, when he was just being the name. Then the business was running good because you had Richard Schaefer's, you had Al Heyman doing, you had people behind the scenes doing the thing. Here come Oscar. I'm taking back over. That mug woke up and realized he ain't have no fighters. Because when they found out that Al Heyman and Richard Schaefer was going to start a promotional company called Ring Star or something like that, it was supposed to be called. That's when Oscar wanted to start suing and going all crazy.
He had a
He
right to
woke
sue.
up and realized he didn't have no Charlos, he didn't have no Andre, he didn't have nothing.
These and that's the thing I think you missing. Oscar De La Hoya is a great talent scout. What would you say to that, Free, about Oscar being a talent
No, I
scout?
would say absolutely not.
He found Deontay Wilder. He found Deontay Wilder.
Man, he ain't find no damn.
He ain't find Deontay
no damn
Wilder. I
Deontay
mean,
All
Wilder.
those guys on Golden Boy. All those guys on
yeah,
Golden
but
Boy.
he didn't find those guys. Those guys were professional fighters, and a lot of those guys, Deontay
They had less
Wilder,
than 10 fights.
whether they had less than 10 fights or not, they were professional fighters. Like Deontay Wilder. I mean, truth be told, let's be
He won a
honest.
bronze medal, bro.
It was Richard Schaefer and it was Floyd Mayweather who found those guys. If you want to be truthfully speaking, it was those two who found those
Oscar
guys.
didn't do nothing to that company but sign checks.
And
Be a
Deontay
man.
Wilder was a bronze medalist. Everybody
Yeah.
knew what Deontay Wilder was doing in the Olympics. They was watching the Olympics and they watched him win a bronze medal. It wasn't hard to see a 6'7" guy with basically no boxing experience go through the Olympics and win a bronze medal. Everybody knew who Deontay Wilder was at that point.
Yeah.
So I think the thing is, Oscar, he forgot that he was a promoter. He thought he was still a boxer, and so he pretty much did what Floyd is doing. Floyd is doing the same thing that Oscar did. Floyd had talent in his camp, and he's forgetting that he's a promoter. He's no longer a boxer.
Yeah, that's a good point because you do kind of see Oscar doing the dirty work as well. But I mean, I know you guys won't say it, but I'll say it because these guys have said it. Adrian Bronner, Jamel Charlo, Arman Charlo, have said numerous times that Oscar De La Hoya have saved their lives and gave them opportunity to do something with their lives on boxing. Because Danny Garcia, I mean, the thing I'll say is
Those was all Al Heyman guys you naming.
They were not Al Heyman. Those were Golden Boy guys.
Yeah, they fought under Golden Boy, but they wasn't under contract with him. They had one fight deal. They wasn't contracted to Golden Boy. 4 fights, 3 fights. Like I said, Oscar woke up and he woke up and didn't have no fighters in his stable one day. Because he started to panic and want to take over and wanted his company back. All right, go ahead. Here you go. We're gonna start another company. Here's your keys back to your car. We don't need them. We don't need it no more. And we'll go over here and I'll just take my groceries with me. And that's what he did. He took him and Richard Schaefer. They took all the fighters. Oscar looked around, was like, "What? All he had left was Canelo. That's the only one he had under contract, and maybe somebody else."
I think you guys are really not giving Oscar his credit. He created Ryan Garcia. He created Canelo Alvarez. He created Jaime Munguia.
That's all cap.
That's all true. These guys, you never knew any of these guys until he got them. The whole reason we even know Canelo now is because other than Golden Boy feeding Floyd all his best fighters, he started putting Canelo on every Floyd Mayweather undercard, and that grew his stock. And I'm telling you, people don't give the credit. No one knows how to build stars the way Oscar De La Hoya, the way Floyd does, because they know what it's like to be a star. Salute the Melon Queen coming through. I think
Oscar ain't never build nobody.
That's a lie. That's a lie. You know,
I'll give him credit in the ring, but as a promoter, he's trash.
What is Ryan Garcia? What is
Ryan was popular before that.
No, he was not. No, he was not. No, he was not. No, he was not.
Nobody knew who he fought for. People just see him on YouTube doing speed challenges. Nobody knew who his promotional company was.
Hey, what I will say is, prior to Ryan sitting there saying he want to fight Tank Davis, prior to that, before he had his little break from fighting the first time, the only person anybody ever knew that Ryan Garcia fought was Luke Campbell.
For sure.
He didn't. I mean, he wasn't no star like that. He became a star because he attached his name to Tank Davis. That's when he became a star. He attached his name to Tank Davis. He kept saying, "I'm gonna knock Tank Davis out in 2 rounds." He went on Hot Box and I'm gonna knock Tank Davis in 2 rounds. Knock Tank Davis out in 2 rounds. And then people started watching Ryan Garcia. That's when they really started putting eyes on Ryan Garcia. Nobody was really checking for Ryan like that. They wanted to see Ryan and Tank Davis fight.
So let me
I
ask you
didn't take
this.
him serious because he was always on YouTube doing speed drills, and I just don't trust people that do that all the time.
Well, hold on 1 second, bro. Let me say this. D Free. So you trying to tell me him having 9 million followers? He had more followers than Canelo at the time. That doesn't make.
What I'm trying to tell you is it wasn't Oscar. It was Ryan. It wasn't Oscar. It was Ryan.
Why don't you give? So this is the thing I don't understand. So
I give him credit for Canelo, but I'm not.
You don't give him credit for Ryan. You think Ryan invented himself?
Ryan made himself a star. Ryan made himself a star. You already said it. He had 9 million followers on Instagram.
I didn't give Austin credit for Canelo either.
I give Oscar credit for Canelo.
You a clown to say that, bro.
Floyd, he was fighting under Floyd.
No.
They built him up for Floyd.
No, he was a star prior. I mean, well, I ain't gonna say he was a star. He was an upcoming star prior to fighting Floyd. He was an upcoming star because that was the thing. They kept saying, "Oh, the only reason why Floyd beat him was because he was green, even though he had more fights than Floyd did."
HBO wanted that,
and he was a defending world champion.
Showtime.
Floyd.
No, this is back in HBO day. He said Ryan shut up everywhere Tank was trying to smack. Salute to my man Big Dre. I don't know. I just hate I hate to hear the Oscar De La Hoya hate, man, because the dude is a genius when it comes to building these fighters. Because 15 fights, he fought. I don't care what nobody say. It says Golden Boy on the ticket. Floyd fought 15 fights under him. That's the most in his career. He fought no more fights under anybody than he did under the Golden Boy himself.
No, yeah, that's a lie.
No, he fought 15 fights.
So you saying he fought less fights under Top Rank than he did under Golden Boy?
Because you got to remember Top Rank.
I'm asking you, did he fight less fights under Top Rank than he did under Golden Boy?
I don't know how you count it because he had that deal before he got the Top Rank. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, what deal before he got the Top Rank?
He had the local deal where he was fighting locally before he got with Top Rank, and Top Rank bought his contract out. That I know for a fact. I just can't. I don't remember. Who
was he under when he fought? What's the dude from New Jersey? Arturo Gotti. Who was he under?
He was on the Top Rank then. By then.
Who was he under when he fought Diego Corrales?
That's another Top Rank fight. Yeah.
Okay. Who was he under when he fought? What's that other dude? It was the fight.
Chop Corley.
Yeah, Chop. Yeah, Chop. Who was he under?
Right before Chop, that's when he was on that local deal, and then they built him up to what he is. Because I remember seeing a clip of him when they introduced him in the ring because he had, he's a '96 Olympian. I think he had went like had a crazy amateur record.
So what you're saying is prior to him getting under Oscar De La Hoya, he was already a star. People already knew who Floyd was. So
I'm just saying,
Oscar didn't make Floyd. Oscar didn't make Floyd. Floyd left Top Rank because Top Rank wouldn't give him the deal, give him the fight with Oscar. So he left Top Rank and signed with Oscar so he can fight Oscar. It wasn't because Oscar found him. He wanted to fight with Oscar. That's why he signed with Oscar. Not Oscar went and got him. He signed. He wanted to fight with Oscar.
All right.
He said, hold on, let me read this real quick. He said Canelo did it at 23. That's a fact. Big Dre, he said, it's not Oscar hate. Look at what Ryan did. He was at the Tank fights and press conferences yelling and saying he would knock Tank out. The moral is Golden Boy has been successful and people just be hating. PBC going bankrupt while Golden Boy is still popping with less talent. I don't think I'll put like that. I know PBC is not going bankrupt. They've been saying that since they got into it, since they got into the game. I've actually had the pleasure of getting to see Mr. Al Heyman in person, and the brother's doing very well. I would not say I highly doubt his company's going anywhere but up because you got to remember he just did the concert. What was that big concert they just had on Amazon with who was that? They just what I'm talking about. They had the pop-out concert and Amazon Prime Music with Al Heyman just did another show. What show was that? The Hot Boys. Little Louisiana Fest was produced by Al Heyman and Amazon. So we got to be honest. People don't realize that you seen the Hot Boys reunion because of Al Heyman and Amazon. So to say that they bankrupt is really just saying some crap to say it. At the end of the day, I think PBC does a bad job of putting fights on, but I'm not gonna sit here and make up lies and say they not popping. I mean, you can't tell me nobody wanted to see the Hot Boys get back together. That was huge. What you think about that? Philly
Well,
and Price.
the thing is, y'all gotta understand. You can only go bankrupt if you're losing money.
Yeah,
PBC doesn't pay these fighters. The network pays these fighters. PBC doesn't have anybody signed to a guaranteed deal. That's what Golden Boy do. That's what Eddie Hearn do. You guarantee a certain amount of money for a fight. PBC don't sign guys to that. You are a contractor. You get
right.
paid as you fight. When you got to fight, we'll go to the network and say, "Hey, how much you going to give us for this fight?" And we come back and say, "This is what we have to offer." They don't pay people out of their pocket. All of the money that they make after that fight, that's all profit for PBC. Y'all gotta understand what type of deal PBC have. That's why so many fights are on pay-per-view, because that's the way they pay their fighters. That's how those
Yeah.
fighters get those big paydays. It's because it was on pay-per-view. They don't get a big payday off a free fight. A free fight, you get whatever the network is giving us, and we say, okay, this is what we have. You're going to get this amount for the fight, and your opponent going to get this amount for the fight. That's how they go with the deal.
And that's the thing that gets me about it. I think a lot of us miss the days when PBC had Fox, because you could watch free fights on Fox and then you could watch Showtime. And I think Amazon has been great. Little Louisiana Fest was great. We remember the whole pop out show where he went to Inglewood and and played Not Like Us 15 times in a row. But I just really hope that PBC can do better, because I really seen a lot of clout chasing. You had Caleb Plant calling out Berlinga. You had what's the other guy's name? David Benavidez calling out Berlinga. I feel like PBC is kind of falling into the trap of, and I get it because they haven't had their leader. I get they haven't had their leader full time, but I'm hearing good things that they're going to have him back. But I just think it's tough when you don't have the head guy. Do you think PBC is really suffering because they didn't have all this past year? What you think, Free?
Say that again.
Do you think PBC just suffered overall because they didn't have all this year?
Most definitely. Anytime you don't have the owner of the company uh, doing business that normally does the business, is going to suffer a little bit, because he knows all of the tricks to the trade. And so when you have somebody else running a company, they might not know how to sweet talk certain people. They might not have the relationship that Al Heyman had with certain people. So it's not going to get done as easy, or it's not going to be as profitable as it would have been done if the owner was the one that was doing it. Like, it's just like me. I'm a partner with my company. I can go out and get a contract deal, and it'll make a decent amount of money. But they got a better relationship with the majority owner of my company, so he can go out and get that same contract deal, and he'll get a better deal than I got, because they got a better relationship with him. So it's pretty much like that. Most people have a better relationship with Al Heyman. So the deals will be a little bit better when Al Heyman is handling the business than with his vice president or whoever else he has in charge when he's not around to handle the business.
Yeah, and you make a great point on that. Let me ask you this, Prize. So when you hear, especially you being in Philly, is there a buzz about Boots Ennis fighting Karen rematch? What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. The city is excited. It's gonna be a good turnout again. Whenever Boots Ennis fights here, the city come out. It's something to do. It's a bunch of things going on this weekend. So
Hmm.
yeah, the buzz is popping out here. They ready. We ready. Our home guys fighting. Us, the Philly fans, we behind him. He's winning, and we gonna ride the wave out. You know what I'm saying? The true ones are. So we ready to go out here. I don't know about Karen. I think Karen getting stopped this time.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't care if he do put on track shoes, boots. I'm pretty sure he's been working on cutting the ring off. He knows what he got to do. He knows he was trying too hard for the knockout. He needs to let it happen.
Well, that being said, let me ask you this, Free. Do you think that Boots Ennis is kind of wasting his career at this point? Because he has more fights than Errol Spence and hasn't even had opportunity to have a unified championship yet. What you think is going on with him?
I think a lot of people see what they have in Boots Ennis, and it is one of those things where you know it's going to be a hard, rugged fight when you get in there with somebody who's not only is he a good boxer, but he has power as well, and he has great defense too. So when you get in there with somebody like that, you're like, do I really want to get in there with him? And so it's harder for you to make the deal. Like with Earl, you know he's pretty much going to take it to you. So you're going to have moments where you can land on Earl, and he's going to have moments where he land on you because he's coming right at you. But with Boots is going to box you, but he also have power. So it's like you don't really want to deal with that headache if you don't have to. So it's kind of hard for guys when they are exceptionally talented, and it's easier for guys who's good, but they're not as talented as somebody like a Jerron Boots. And it's the same thing like Tank Davis and Shakur.
Right.
They're getting a ring with Shakur, even though they know he's a great defensive fighter, but they know he doesn't have real big power like that. But then they kind of skeptical of getting in the ring with Tank because, yeah, I'm gonna get a good payday, but it's a good chance that I might get knocked out in this fight. So it's kind of bad when you real good at a sport. It's kind of bad because certain people don't want to get in the ring with you because they don't want to take that L.
So do you think that Jerron Ennis is the real deal? Because I remember him fighting that guy Van Heeren when he fought for the IBO belt. And I remember the guy, like Jerron was going so fast to fight the guy. The guy got like I almost say feel like he cut himself to get out of that fight. I'm just wondering, does Jerron know how to set up the fight like he needs to, or he's still in learning mode? Because I feel like at this point, he's a 26-year-old prospect. What would you guys say?
Oh no, Jerron, I believe he's the real deal, and the reason I believe that is because people are not really trying to get in the ring with him. They asking for major paydays to get in the ring with him, even though he's not a real big superstar like that to be getting major paydays, but they looking for major paydays when they get in the ring with Jerron Boots Ennis because they know he's the real deal. So if you're not the real deal, it's not going to be hard for you to get a fight, especially if you got a belt. It's not going to be hard for you to get that fight. People going to be jumping to get that belt from you because they're like, oh, he ain't really all that. I know it's just all smoke and mirrors. If you're not really like that. That's why I say a lot of these people, like we looking from the outside in, but a lot of these boxers know these fighters. They've been in the ring with them. They sparred them and stuff like that. Because remember, Jerron Boots Ennis sparred some of these guys coming up before he became who he is now. He sparred a lot of these guys, so they know who Jerron Ennis is. It's the same thing with Tank Davis. We hear all these stories about who Tank Davis then sparred. So these guys know each other. We looking at it like, oh, he ain't nobody. He ain't really fighting nobody. But they know who they are because they spar with them.
Yeah, I hear a lot. I hear a lot of that when it comes to Jerron Ennis. The thing I just wonder is like why at this point or has he not gotten the fights? And then why is he so reluctant to go to 54? Because I don't know. He seems kind of reluctant to go to 54. Is that just me, or is that what you see as well?
No, I mean that's you because according to what his father said in the last interview that I saw with him, which was either earlier this week or late last week, he said after this fight, we're looking to get a fight with one of these other champions. If we can't unify the belts, we're going to 54. So they're gonna make their go around trying to get a fight with one of these other champions. If they can't get it, they're going to 54. So I don't think he's reluctant to go to 54. I think he wants to try to become undisputed at 47. If he can't get that, then he's going to go to 54.
Yeah. I just don't. I guess for me, I guess the question would be at 54, who would he fight? Because he won't probably get to fight Jamel, or he won't get to fight Errol, or Boots. I mean, not Boots, or Bud. So what's the purpose of going to 54? Because we know he don't want. You know he won't fight Virgil or a guy like Fundora because they on the wrong side. What do you guys think?
They not on the wrong side. I think them fights can happen.
Um,
You got the Turkey Man in there can make everything. He with Eddie too. So if the Turkey Man want to see Boots Ennis in there with somebody, he'll pay the money. So yeah, if go like he said, if he can't get Brian Norman Jr. or Barrios or one of the other welterweight, who is it? Stanionis, one of them other belt holders.
mhm.
Then yeah, I believe Bozy did say that, if I'm not mistaken, and that would be fine. He can go do that, get them, get the 54 where he'll be fine. And I don't think none of them guys can beat him. Only one that can give him a run was Charlo. Everybody else, I think he smokes.
Well, let me ask you this, Free and Prize. So, who would you think will win Prime versus Prime, Keith Thurman or Boots Ennis?
Man, it's a good fight, man. They kind of remind me of each other, but I'll say Bruce Ennis because Bruce Ennis is a good body puncher. And if Keith Thurman, we see what he do. When he get hit to the body. He take his mouthpiece out and he runs. Like he literally ran from Pacquiao. He literally ran from Sean Porter. Like when I say ran, he ran. Like that was crazy work. But I think Boots can stop him to the body.
Yeah. It's a 50-50 fight, and the only reason I say it's a 50-50 fight is because Keith Thurman in his prime. I ain't talking about the Keith Thurman now. The prime Keith Thurman. He still was a veteran compared to Jerron Ennis. Keith Thurman fought a lot of top guys. Jerron Ennis hasn't fought nobody on the level of some of the guys that Keith Thurman fought. Now I still think Jerron Ennis might edge it out because of his boxing ability. And I saw a prime Keith Thurman in there with Manny Pacquiao, and he looked a little confused when he was in there with Manny Pacquiao. And that was a 42-year-old Manny Pacquiao. So if you having those problems with Manny or 40-year-old Manny, whichever one it was, if you having those problems with an old man Manny, nah, you're not gonna be able to deal with a young, hungry lion like Jerron Ennis. Like Jerron Ennis at that time, I mean, I still think he is now, but at that time, he was very hungry to get a title. And so, I mean, it might have calmed down a little bit because he got a title. I still think he's hungry, but it might have calmed down a little bit. But at that time, he was very hungry. I mean, I remember when Keith Thurman was acting like he didn't know who Boots was. He was like, who? I don't know who Jerron Ennis is. Like, you know who the hell Boots is.
Like Sean Porter said, keep him away from him.
He said you must have forgot Keith Thurman was a brawler. You know, let me
Yeah,
ask you
I
guys
mean, that would have
this.
been a good fight, man. I mean, I ain't gonna act like Keith Thurman wasn't a good welterweight. He fought two good guys, three good guys. You know what I mean? He fought the Danny, Sean, and who else he fight? Am I missing? Or that was just the two guys he
He
fought.
took Danny's O. I mean, you gotta put some respect on his name. He
Yeah,
took Danny's O.
yeah, like I said, he beat Danny and he beat Sean Porter in a close fight. Then he got on his flutes and started acting crazy. So
I think, and I'm gonna ask you guys both this. I'm gonna start with Free on this. Is Keith Thurman probably the greatest story never told? Because my God, he really, if you think about his career, he was actually number one at one time. He had a WBA belt and he had a WC belt. And then to see him slowly, because of injuries or whatever the case may be, just fall off a map. Did that shock you guys? Because I mean, he was number one. He was the number one welterweight, clearly. He had beat Danny Garcia by 1 point and dominated Sean Porter. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he was the greatest story never told because a lot of people know who Keith Thurman is. He was number one, but he really wasn't supposed to be. Um, Actually, who was supposed to be number one was supposed to be Earl Spence because he beat Kell Brook. Kell Brook was number one at the time, and Earl beat Kell Brook. So technically, Earl was supposed to be number one, but they made Keith number one. I guess because he fought more of the top guys. Because I believe Earl was like number 9 at the time when he fought Kell Brook, or number
Yeah.
He was like number 9 or something like that.
I
So
thought he was. Yeah, I thought he was
Yeah,
bottom
he was
10,
kind of.
but
Yeah, he was kind of
he
down
was
there. Bro.
bottom 10. I don't know if he was number 9. I
yeah,
don't
Well,
know
he
so
if
said he
Earl.
was. He said he was mandatory, but he was the mandatory though, wasn't he?
I mean, you could be a mandatory at anybody in the top 10 could be the mandatory. It all depends on the sanction about who they want to call mandatory. It's supposed to be the number 1, but they can call whoever they want to be the mandatory in the top 10.
Because
And
I thought he called Earl. That's if I remember that he called
no,
Earl for that fight.
no.
Go ahead.
Earl wanted that fight with Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman went to 154 to fight Triple G. He got his eye socket broke, came back down, and decided to fight Earl when he came back down.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, we can have the fight, but we're gonna have it in my country." Earl was like, "Okay, I'll go over there and beat you."
Yeah, and whooped him. And Keith Thurman, that was around the time when Keith Thurman, they was like, "Hey, Keith, you gonna fight Earl this year?" Oh, not
You
gonna
mean
happen,
Kell Brook?
baby.
You mean Kell Brook?
No. When Keith Thurman, when they asked Keith Thurman, "Hey Keith, you gonna fight Earl this? You gonna fight Earl this year?" And when Keith Thurman was like, "Not gonna happen, baby. Not gonna happen. It's a get back year. This a get back year. Remember that? You don't remember all that get back
Oh
year
yeah,
stuff?
Yeah. Keith Thurman, and that's the reason why Earl said he would never fight Keith Thurman because
Yeah, because
Earl
he
wanted
said not
to.
gonna happen,
Earl wanted to
baby.
unify. He wanted to unify the belts, and Keith Thurman would not fight Earl. And so Earl was like, "Well, you didn't give me the opportunity to unify the belts. I'm not giving you an opportunity to win these belts." So that's why he said he would never fight Keith Thurman.
I think we missed out on a really good fight because I think Keith Thurman would have dominated Earl because
I don't. He didn't have no confidence in himself.
No, I don't think.
I wouldn't say that.
Hold up,
He got
real
a lot
quick.
of injuries. Go ahead.
Bentley, I don't think Floyd ducked Keith Thurman. Floyd gave Keith Thurman the same opportunity he gave Canelo. He told Keith Thurman, if you want to fight me, go beat Earl Spence. You beat Earl Spence, I'll fight you next. He did the same thing to Canelo. He told Canelo, go fight Austin Trout. You beat him, I'll fight you next. Canelo beat Austin Trout. Floyd fought him. So I think Keith Thurman ducked Earl Spence, and I think Floyd knew that Keith Thurman ducked Earl Spence. That's why he said, "Go fight Earl. You beat him, then I'll fight you." So I think Floyd wanted to see that fight between Earl and Keith Thurman, and at that time, that was right after the time that Earl Spence had black Floyd eye in sparring. So Floyd knew that Earl was the truth, and he was like, "Man, if you can beat him, then you deserve a fight with me."
The thing I'll say is this: I always feel like sparring is really way too much glorified because I'm gonna be honest here. At the end of the day, Errol Spence couldn't hold Floyd's trunks, man. Because Floyd would hurt Errol Spence at welterweight.
I don't know if
he just was too smart. He was too smart. He was just too smart. Tell me how can Errol win that fight? I want your honest opinion.
I think he would beat Earl.
I think Floyd would beat Earl because he was more crafty, and I think his ring IQ is much higher than Earl's. But I'm not saying that he will hurt Earl because I don't think Floyd would have hurt Earl. I don't think Floyd had that power in his hands like that to hurt Earl at that time. Maybe the Earl after the accident, he probably would be able to hurt him. But the Earl before that accident, no, I don't think Floyd would have hurt him. But I mean, who knows? Earl could have very well went in there and stopped Floyd. We saw Floyd chin be checked a couple of times as he got older. And I mean, who knows? I mean, that could have been one of the reasons why he said, "Hey, if you go beat Earl, and then I'll fight you," because he knew that Earl was legitimate at that weight class, and Keith Thurman could have messed around and hurt Floyd as well because Keith Thurman was knocking everybody out at that time. He was knocking
I'd like to
everybody.
see that fight, Bentley. Tim Bradley and Keith Thurman. I'd have liked that one.
You know, I remember Tim Bradley was supposed to fight Earl Spence. I thought that was going to be a good fight.
And Bradley ain't want no parts of him.
No, that man said, "Man, you already know why we not fighting. He on the wrong side of the daggone joint. He across the street." That's when across the street came up. Everybody said it came up with Bud. No, it was Tim Bradley that brought that up for the beginning. He was the first
That's
one.
what I thought. That's what I used to think.
He was the first one that said, "No, he on the other side of the street." That's when that came about. It wasn't Bud. It was Tim Bradley that brought that up.
It's just more internet popping than when Bud said it than Tim Bradley was. The internet niggas wasn't dissecting the internet like kind of. You know what I'm saying?
I always feel like, and maybe I'm wrong for saying it, and I don't want to disrespect Timothy Storm Bradley, but I feel like with that Pacquiao gift, that kind of made his whole career. Even though he did beat Lamont Peterson. Not Lamont Peterson. Who was he? Who was the one guy?
Holt.
Holt. Yeah, Holt. He had beat a couple guys that was undefeated like in a row. I still feel like Timothy Bradley kind of got the whole HBO slash
Yeah.
ESPN gig
Didn't he
just
have
off
three
that Manny
belts at
Pacquiao.
140?
I believe he did. I believe he did. I believe he did. Didn't he beat Lamont Peterson? Wasn't he the first one to beat Lamont Peterson free?
I felt
Am I
like he
wrong?
beat.
He beat
Who?
Lamont Peterson first. Didn't he take Lamont Peterson's O from
I
him?
felt like it
Tim
was
Bradley?
Lamont Peterson.
I believe he did beat Lamont Peterson. I'm not sure. I got to go back and look. I think he did.
Because it was him.
I know he fought Lamont
No,
Peterson.
he beat Devin Alexander.
No, he took his O at 140. That's what
Matter
it
of
was.
fact,
Okay.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. I think I do remember him fighting Lamont Peterson. I believe he did beat Lamont Peterson, but I'll
At
look it up.
140, right?
Yeah, it was at
Hold on.
140.
Hey, go ahead and eat real quick. Probably it's kind of hard to understand you when you eating. He said
I thought,
Earl.
bro, I was starving, bro.
What he say? Earl after round and turned his back on Floyd, he would have got the Ortiz treatment. I just think, honestly, to tell you the truth, maybe I'm wrong on this. I felt like really with Earl, he never should have came back from that car accident because he just wasn't the same. And I get what Free saying the Earl before the car accident probably would have been more, but I just remember how crafty Floyd was because Floyd was supposed to go to sleep when he fought Sugar Shane Mosley. But he was able to hold his arm. You remember that, Free? He held his arm. He couldn't even move. So that was smart in itself, bro.
Yeah. He took Lamont Peterson. Oh, he got a unanimous decision over Lamont Peterson.
I figured that was the
Was
case
that for
because
3 belts free? Or 2 belts?
That was for one belt, the WBO super lightweight.
Who did he unify with? Was it Devin Alexander then? Or Kendall Holt?
No, David Alexander was at 47. He never was at 140 with a belt.
No, he did unify with Devin Alexander for the
Oh, he had a
WBC
belt
and
at
WBO.
140?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
WBC and WBO.
Oh, my bad. I thought he was at 1. I always remember him at 147.
So
I
he
don't
had
remember.
3 belts free?
Yeah, two.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'll say this: the thing that's so crazy about Timothy Bradley, I really feel like that Manny Pacquiao gift made his whole career, almost his life to an extent. Because I'm telling you, I just don't. When I listen to him talk, he talk like he's a big dog. But I mean, he didn't
Former
fight
unified
Floyd.
champion.
I'm just saying it was so many guys around his weight class that he didn't fight.
Well,
He
in
only
his
had
prime of his career, he fought
at
what's
that.
that Russian Ruslan Provatnikov was a good fight. Kendall Holt was a good fight. Devin Alexander was a good fight. Lamont
Um,
Peterson was a good fight. Those were good fights back in the day.
at 140, Tim Bradley only had those two belts for the Devin Alexander fight. I guess he was stripped of the WBC after that because the next fight he fought Joel Casamayor and it
Yeah,
was
that was
over.
weird.
And that was
Mhm.
only the WBO on the line for that one. He didn't have
Casamayor
two
was way
belts.
old.
He didn't have two belts. That was at 140, and then he fought Manny Pacquiao at 47. So he only had those two belts at 140, but he only had it for that. He only won the belt for Devin Alexander, and then the WBC, either he got stripped or he dropped the belt. And he
That was
got
a big fight though with Devin Alexander and Timothy Bradley. Devin Alexander ended up quitting in there. He ran into Timothy Bradley head and said, "Man, he got a big head, man. I can't see." And Devin Alexander was talking a lot before that fight too, man. He got in there with Bradley, man, and Bradley was getting over on him, and then they collided head. They had a clash of heads, and then Devin Alexander acted like he couldn't see. He said he got a big head. I remember he said it in the middle of the ring. He said, "I can't see. He got a big head." But
Yeah, I always liked the fact that when you got a chance to watch Timothy Bradley fight, because I don't care what nobody say, Teddy Atlas is a great trainer to hear on the mic. I don't know. Have you guys ever heard anybody more entertaining? I would say Roger Mayweather.
yes,
Other than Roger, other than the Black Mamba, who would you say is more entertaining, Teddy Atlas or the Black Mamba?
no, my most entertaining trainer is Norman Stone. If you don't, if you know, you know. Norman Stone was a maniac. He was a caveman. The guy that used to train John Ruiz. And all he do was cuss. And HBO is like, before we go to the corner of John Ruiz, we just want to, how you say it? Damn, parental discretion advised. As soon as they went to John Ruiz corner, here he come. F that mother effer, Johnny. When he was fighting Roy. I like him. There's nobody more entertaining than Norman Stony Stone. That guy's that guy's a maniac.
Yeah. What would you say? What
Free,
would
you
you
know what I'm
say?
talking
Free?
about, Free? You know what I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about, but I like Teddy Atlas because Teddy Atlas was the one that kept it real with his fighters. He never lied to them at all. He
He
like, man,
said
you
entertaining
losing.
though.
I'm telling you,
Let me finish
entertaining.
real quick. Go ahead.
I'm telling you, he was entertaining. That man was like, man, you losing it. When he was talking, I think it was Michael Moore. I think it was Michael
Yeah,
Moore.
Michael Moore.
He was like, what are you doing? And you fucking losing out here.
Yeah, he was going crazy.
Ain't that the one where he say he had his son on the phone? I got your son on the phone.
Teddy Atlas kept it real with his fighters. I like Teddy Atlas.
Well, I thought you meant like as far as entertaining, like as far as like motivation, nobody's better than Teddy with the motivation. Kevin Rooney was pretty good too, but Teddy Atlas was gifted with that motivation in between rounds, so he could just get a fighter's attention and get him motivated to go. Like he had Timothy Bradley ready to go. But as far as entertainment, if you want to laugh, matter of fact, I wouldn't even say entertainment. If you want to hear pure comedy, all you got to do, chat, is go type in the best of Norman Stone in the in the YouTube, and the videos will pop up of him, and he don't train, he just cuss.
Yeah.
I mean, but I like that story that Teddy Atlas told about Mike Tyson when he said he had to pull out his weapon on Mike Tyson. He was like, man, I wasn't playing no games. He was like, man, that was my daughter. I had to tell him get out of my house. I was like, dang, you had to pull out on Mike.
Well, you know, one thing I found out about Mike. Mike is the only guy I've ever heard who people give him license to put his hands on him. They don't really go to like weapon play with Mike. They just kind of accept that they can't beat Mike physically. And to hear him go there, that means Mike really must have violated, because most people just let Mike, violate and don't say nothing to him. But I'll tell you this, Teddy Atlas wasn't having it. And the thing I'll say about Mike is, going and talking about this Jake Paul fight, I think Mike is going to probably go to bed, but it's good to see Mike getting back out there. It's good to see him talking. Mike is kind of a little scared. I seen him eating raw meat again. I just don't know what's going to happen. But when somebody is 30 years older than you, I mean, there's a very good chance that he could gas Mike out and beat him. But I'll be honest with you, Mike almost looks better now than he ever did. Is that just me? Or have you guys noticed that when Mike got his head on, that statement that his coach Tim Mallory made is true, that no one can beat Mike but Mike. I really agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Mike probably will get beat. I don't know if he gets knocked out or anything like that. But I will say, if he happens to touch Jake Paul on that chin, Jake Paul might be getting knocked out, because Mike Tyson still got that power. He still has it. So
I hate that this fight is happening.
The only thing that's good about this entire fight is that it's free on Netflix. That's the only thing that's good about it. Everything else, I'm like, man, I don't, because I'm actually not watching the main event. I don't want to see Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. I look at the highlights later after I hear what the results is, because from what Mike had went through when he was on that plane ride, I'm like, dog, he shouldn't even be in the ring no more.
Right.
You shouldn't even be in the ring, because who's to say that you fully heal from that? What if you get hit and something happened and that's the last hit you ever take? I'm like, nah, he shouldn't even be in the ring. But I'm watching the undercard.
Jake Paul ain't never fought at heavyweight though, heavy.
I mean, he fought at cruiserweight, so I mean,
talking about maybe 10 pounds,
yeah, a couple of pounds more.
That means something. It's weight classes for a reason.
No, but what I'm saying is he never fought at heavyweight, but he fought at cruiserweight. But when he came in as a heavyweight. He came in as a heavyweight.
Mike is like 215, 220.
Yeah, Mike ain't no big dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mike ain't no big dude. The biggest Mike ever been, I believe, at heavyweight was like 235. I think that's the biggest he's ever been. He's not no real big dude. He's only 5'11". He ain't no real big dude.
And one day when he came out of jail, he was real big like that. He never was big like that again either, you know, which is crazy. But he never was big like that again. I mean, I think Mike's a physical freak, but I'm telling you, Prize, he got a real chance of getting hurt. You know, if you didn't have seizures and stuff, I don't think you should be in the ring.
I don't want to see him in there. I definitely.
But I'm gonna watch it, and we go stream it live.
Oh my god!
I mean, y'all gonna stream it live. I'm gonna be watching it all the way up until Mike get ready to make his ring walk, and then I'm turning it off, and I'm just gonna be listening to what y'all saying because I'm not watching it.
One thing about Free, my brother Will, boy, kind of funny. I've never seen nobody do that. How you a doggone sportscaster? You be protesting fights. But before we get out of here, man, we got to talk about a couple things in NFL. Man, the Detroit Lions look like they're going to win it all, man. I haven't seen a team this dominant, and I don't know when. What about you, Free?
They got Marshawn.
Detroit Lions, they doing some good things. I still think my team can hold up against them. I think Philly can hold up against them. So I'm not giving it to them right now because I mean I've seen them get beat. It's not like they undefeated. The only team that I'm worried about is daggone Kansas City. For some reason, they find a way to win. I don't care if they got one receiver on the field or no receiver. They find a way to win for some strange reason. But I like the move that my team did. We went and got Marcel Lattimore.
Marshawn Lattimore?
Yeah. We took him from the Saints. We took him from the Saints. That's what we needed. We needed another corner because we got one decent corner out there. The rookie, he's been playing well as a rookie. He's been playing very well, especially since he was a slot corner, and now they got him playing outside, and he's playing better outside than he did as a slot corner. So now we got Lattimore on the other side. I think that might have helped out our secondary tremendously. Now I think Dan Quinn and Joe Wick can do what they've been trying to do, but they didn't have the corners to do it.
Oh, blitz every play.
You already know. They like coming after that quarterback. They come after that quarterback is going to create havoc.
Well, I don't know why Cleveland traded
Smith.
Darius.
It's over. Just to be totally honest, it's time to figure out what we're gonna do going forward. They made an announcement about the Cleveland Browns are going to keep everyone's available except Myles Garrett. I mean, let's just be honest here. We're not going to bring Deshaun Watson back. We're going to just probably have to eat that contract and suffer the consequences because that, to be honest, is the worst contract in sports history. I've never seen a fall off so drastic. I mean, Deshaun Watson was top 3 before he went out, and then he came back.
You can't take that many years off and play quarterback, bro.
No, that's what I'm about to say. That y'all was hoping that he would be the quarterback he was before he got injured. Y'all didn't see him play in 2 years. That man didn't play in 2 years, and y'all gave him a $230 million guaranteed contract, and y'all didn't see him play in 2 years. I'd have been when my GM would have said this is what we giving him. I'd have been like, no, what are you talking about? We ain't even see this man play yet. Why won't we just sign him to a 1-year deal first and see what he's look like, and then we give him a big contract if he.
Well, let's not play like everybody wasn't about to sign him. I mean, he's about to either go to the Saints or another team. So it wasn't like he wasn't wanted at the time. It is what it is, but I just feel like we got really ran through the water when you talk about the Cleveland sports fans because that was the worst. I'm telling you, that was the worst signing in our franchise's history. It really was.
Yeah, and they might have another one down in Dallas right now because that man signed a $260 million contract, and that man is on IR now.
Yeah,
so
he's out.
That Prescott is
Dak
on IR.
out. He's
Oh,
out.
he's gone. Wow, what happened?
He not out for the season, but
Hamstring.
he's out for a minimum of 4 games. A minimum of 4 games.
Well,
Because
hamstrings are tough to.
it wasn't the hamstring. It was his thumb.
I thought they said a
No,
hammy.
it's his thumb. But he's out for a minimum because when you get put on IR, you out for a minimum of 4 games. That's the minimum that you could be out of. But the thing is, he signed a $40 million contract. I mean, $260 million contract. 240 is guaranteed.
Wow.
They're only one game away from being in last place in the division. They lost their defensive coordinator. They lost the assistant to the defensive coordinator. And then you lost some key players on that defensive line that was, even though they was backup, they were coming in and they was producing. Now they in Washington and they producing in Washington. So you lost some key players. And then you had the opportunity to sign Derrick Henry. You chose not to and go with Ezekiel Elliott. Dog. When New England got rid of Ezekiel Elliott, you should have known, okay, he is not good. If New England's getting rid of him, he ain't good because New England ain't had no real running game like that. They got a decent running game now, but they ain't had no real running game like that for them to get rid of Ezekiel Elliott. So they got rid of him. You picked him up and said, "No, we're not going to bid on Derrick Henry and let him go to Baltimore." And now y'all ain't got no run game. Y'all picked up a wide receiver who has less than 50% completion in the last 4 games. This man has caught less than 4 passes in 4 games combined. This man was the number 4 wide receiver on a 1-7. I mean, no, a 2-16 now. He was the number 4 receiver. You let the number 1 receiver go to Baltimore. You could have went and got him if you were going to get a receiver. You let him go to Baltimore, and you picked up the number 4. They ain't going nowhere, dog. They ain't going nowhere fast.
I hate the Giants, and I can't stand the Cowboys. I'm glad to just see their demise. I love Danny Dimes throwing it to the dirt. I love Zeke and him can't run the ball. I love Dak getting hurt. I don't want to say getting hurt. I just like Dak ain't there. I'll say that. I can't wait to see Cooper Rush be a train wreck. And this is amazing.
The best thing about Dallas that I love is that Jerry Jones is their general manager. As long as he's their general manager, I ain't got to worry about nothing.
Nope.
I got to worry about nothing as long as
nobody in the NFC got to work. Nothing to worry about. Jerry's still there.
It's crazy because he's a great talent scout, but he does not.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's drafted more.
He ain't even picked a coach.
Hold on, he drafted more Pro Bowlers than anybody since 2000.
He ain't drafted nothing. Jimmy Johnson drafted those 90s.
No, guys. You're not listening. You're not listening.
It was Jerry Jones. It was Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones is one of the best talent scouts in NFL history.
Yeah, Jerry Jones. He's a great eye for talent. He's just a horrible eye for head coaching. He goes by the big names. He don't go by who.
I think he want the credit though.
Yeah, he does want the credit, but he goes by big names. That's the reason why Jimmy Jones wasn't there, because he wanted all the credit instead of letting Jimmy Jones was the one that coached the team to 3 Super Bowls. You want to take all the credit, or he coached them to a Super Bowl, or 2 of them. I think he coached them to 2 of them, and the other dude coached it to the 3rd one. But Jimmy Johnson. I mean Jimmy Johnson. I said Jimmy Jones. Jimmy Johnson. He was a good coach. I was glad when they got rid of him. I was like, bet I ain't got to worry about Jimmy Johnson no more. That nigga was killing us. But yeah, Jerry Jones, he's like Floyd Mayweather of football. That's what he is. He's Floyd Mayweather of football.
Man, he want all the credit. And that's the thing that's so funny about it, is that for a long, long time, you say, how do you get DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregg? I mean, people forget the man can find some pass rushers. You had all these guys on your line at dirt prices, and you still couldn't win. And I got to say this before we get out of here. We get ready for the Rise podcast. Saquon Barkley needs to be drug tested. That was the best run I've ever seen in my life, and I've been around football since kindergarten. To see the man jump forward for somebody coming, the dude's a magician, man. Shout out to Saquon Barkley, man. I think that was very Barry Sanders-esque the jump like that. That was a move I never seen. You don't really say that much in football, but I don't know, I never seen that move.
I'm gonna tell you what was even worse on that whole play. That was bad tackling. So that's what happens when you put your head down instead of looking at your target. He put his head down, and that man jumped over him backwards. You don't let for one, you don't let nobody jump over you, but to let the man jump over you backwards was even worse because he ain't even looking at you when he jumped. He got his back to you, and he jumped over you backwards.
That was the best. That was a nice little hurdle. That's the best hurdle I ever seen.
Whoever that dude was, I don't ever want him on my team. Ever. I don't even know who it was, but I don't want him ever on my team.
Who was that? A Cleveland Brown? Who was they playing? Jaguars.
He was a goofball.
No, they was playing. Who was they playing?
Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville. Yeah, whoever that was on Jacksonville, I don't ever want him on my team. Don't ever go pick him up. Let that man stay in Jacksonville. Or send him to the Eagles or Dallas. Let him go over there, and we play against him. I don't want to ever play.
We don't want him.
Hey, I'll say this though: Lamar Jackson might win his 3rd MVP, but it's your boy BBO Boxing. It's your boy Free, the great debater, and of course I got my guy Richie Rich Prize Fighter, and we'll be back tomorrow. And we out here, y'all. Peace.